All right, we are recording, and now I'm going to start the live stream. All right, welcome to today's InstaClub session. I'm going to start like we always start with going over our ropes. Our ropes are our guidelines of how we're going to behave and get along in this virtual space. So I'm going to present the ropes to you real quick. Let me pull those up. And with our ropes, it's important to remember that these ropes were created by teens that are in our program. They actually, in our first session, discussed what do they think the roles and responsibilities should be for anyone participating. With our ropes, literally every letter of the word ropes is represents different words that we're going to exemplify in this group. So let me pull that up real quick and share. All right. So when we're looking at our ropes, we start with our R, and that has respect, which means we respect everyone's voice in this space, and everyone is treated as equal and valued members of the discussion. Our next R is responsibility. You are responsible to be a part of the discussion and accountable for your actions during the discussion. All sessions are recorded for everyone's safety and so that we can share it with those who could not attend. Moving on to O, in this space, we want people to be open-minded. This is a public space, and everyone that's coming in is coming from different backgrounds, different experiences, and has different thoughts and feelings, and really look at this as a great opportunity to learn new things and be open-minded to new educational experiences. Another O is opportunity. Take advantage of this opportunity to connect and share with other people. Even though some people aren't here right now, since we do post this online, it's an opportunity to connect and share with many other people as well. Next is our P, patience. Please be patient with us for teens and facilitators. This is a new learning tool that we're using in the virtual space. Also, when we're going online, it's important to keep in mind that there may be some technical issues that cause delays. Just be patient with us as we're working through this virtual space. The next P is participation. We encourage participation. This is supposed to be an interactive experience, but we also respect each individual's option to participate or pass. So if there's a topic that we're discussing that you do not want to share on, you can choose to pass. Next is E. We do expect effort. You getting on today and being a part of our discussion shows effort, shows that you want to be here. We do ask that when we do present activities, you do try them, even if you don't want to talk or share with the group, that you do try them at your home while we're working in this space. Next is E for engagement. We do ask that you be engaged. Being online can lead to a lot of distractions when you're working from home. When you do come into our InstaClub session, you might want to find like a quiet space in your house or a place where you can stay away from outside conversation so you can focus on what we're discussing here. The last E is is enjoyment. We do plan to learn and share and do all that kind of stuff, but we also want it to be fun. So please let us know what we can do to make this a more enjoyable experience. Today's lesson is actually one of our fun lessons. We're going to be mainly focusing on what if scenarios, and I'll go into that a little bit later. But it was a suggestion by one of the teens that they wanted to talk about what if scenarios and have a little bit of fun with that discussion. The last one is S, and we're talking about the space. When we talk about space, we're talking about giving space for people to speak. In online conversation, it might take a few seconds for a person to finish their thoughts. So after someone speaks, maybe wait 1 or 2 seconds before you jump in so we're not talking all over each other. And the last piece is S for safety. This is a safe space. Any bullying, disrespect, or inappropriate behaviors will not be tolerated. That's another reason why we record the session. So if something does occur, we have the record of it and we can address it if needed. So that is our ropes. And we do this every week to remind all new participants of how we expect to engage and work with each other. So in this online space, it's really important as the facilitator. I'm a facilitator. I'm not a teacher. So it is a partnership. We do want teens to share their thoughts, their feelings, what direction they think this Insta Clubhouse should go in, because we believe that when working with teens, it has to be something that they're invested in for it to be effective. We can't just tell them everything, even though we know it's important things that they should be learning. and we'll definitely mix that in. But we do want their input as well to make sure that we're addressing topics that are important to them. With that, today's lesson, as I mentioned before, is what if topics. But before we get into that, we're going to do our typical introductions where we say our name, how we're doing today, and then we have our random question. So today's random question is, what is your favorite day of the week and what is your least favorite day of the week? So if you can say your name and how you're doing, and then your favorite and least favorite day of the week.
All right, go you first.
My name is Cheyenne, and I'm doing pretty good today. And my favorite day of the week is probably Friday, just because like when there's no quarantine, you can hang with your friends and like there's no school like the next day, so you can stay up pretty late and stuff and play games. And my least favorite is probably Monday because that's when you have to go back. But I still like Monday, but like
Okay, that makes sense. I can understand that. How about you, Mom?
Yeah, so I'm Kristen. I'm doing pretty good today. Had a nice long weekend. My favorite day of the week is probably also Friday, like Cheyenne said. So I think in this household, we always try to like make sure we do something on Fridays because it makes the weekend longer. And then same with hers. Mine is just with work. Mondays are always tough. It's the busiest days in office. And it's the start of like a week, like a whole week, until you get like a break.
Awesome. Again, I'm Kellen. I would say my favorite day of the week is probably Friday as well, wrapping up like a long work week. Um, I would also say my least favorite, it's not necessarily the whole day, but like Sunday nights are like the worst because I'm already thinking about the week that's coming up, similar like you guys were saying about Monday, but I can't like after coming off a really nice weekend, it's like, oh, here we go, another work week, and just can't get out of my own head on that Sunday night.
Yeah.
Um, and we like to do those warm up kind of conversations to start the discussion and get people to feel a little bit more comfortable and get in the mood to kind of start communicating. So as I mentioned before, today we're going to be doing what if discussions. This was presented to us by one of our teams. It's pretty much we come up with hypothetical what if scenarios and just discuss, how we would handle that situation, our opinions, our feelings on it, and maybe give predictions how those things would turn out. It was presented to us because right now we are in kind of an unknown time, with a lot of what ifs, what's going to happen next. And with all those kind of questions swirling around, we thought, why don't we do something fun with it to kind of take our mind off it for a minute? So I have a whole game planned out, and we're going to do that in a second. But there are a couple real what if questions that I did want to try to address. They can be a little bit personal. So if you do want to decline, that's completely fine. But just to kind of think about real life what ifs that are going on right now, I have three questions for you. So the first what if would be, what if online school would go on forever? So this would be the new normal, that school would continue to go this way. How do you feel about that? How do you think that would turn out?
um I don't think I would like it very much because like I it's easier like learning face to face with the teacher, and like if you have questions you can ask them right away if you need like when you need help and stuff. And like online it's kind of hard for the teachers to like know what you're talking about, and it's like I feel like it's more effort to like to try to figure out like what you need help with than like to just be able to just ask your teacher like right away what you need to like fix or whatever. And it's nice to have like conversations with people in school and like making new friends and stuff, and it's kind of hard to do that online. And it's it's not the same as being in school, and I wouldn't like that to go on forever.
Yeah, I mean, that like face to face personal contact, that interaction is huge. I mean, that's a very important part of the education process. I think for a lot of people, we all have different learning styles, but I think the interaction with another human being is very valuable in terms of I can ask you the question and you can physically show it to me. I'm a big hands-on learner. I need to write it. I need to see it. I need to have it like in my hands for me to actually understand it. So online would be extremely difficult. Okay.
Yeah.
And this was a question when I was coming up with it, that it could be a little bit personal, and you don't have to respond if you don't want to. But what if a friend or family member had COVID-19? How would that make you feel? How do you think you would respond in that situation?
if one of my family members in the house had corona or whatever, I would be like kind of scared. But at the same time, I know that like everybody in this house has a strong immune system, so I'm sure they'll like get over sickness. But it's it's kind of scary because they could spread it to someone who actually like can't get over like the disease and or virus, whatever. And I don't know. I feel like they'll be able to get over it, but at the same time, like other people could be affected by them being sick.
Mhm.
Okay. Kristen, do you want to add anything? Sorry, I didn't let you answer the last.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, for me, it would be like the fear of the unknown because, like Shai said, we all have pretty healthy immune systems, but Shai also has a 3-year-old little brother who is super resistant to take any kind of medicine. I mean, we can't get him to take anything. So for him, it would be like hard to get him to do a breathing treatment. So it would probably be a pretty tough recovery for him. With Shy, she also has a pretty good immune system, but she hates going to see doctors. So it's even like taking her to the doctors or her having to be like in an environment in a medical field that she's not comfortable. And then for me, it would be very worried about. I'm considered an essential business, so getting some people that are much more compromised sick.
Okay.
And you worry about that. Like you just don't want to harm anybody else.
Definitely. And I'm glad to hear that both of you seem really informed about, the situation, about, the stronger the immune system, the chance for recovery and everything like that. I can completely understand with the 3-year-old. I have a 2-year-old myself, and she hates taking medicine as well. I think I would actually agree with both of you in terms of, I don't think I'd be more really concerned about myself in terms of, I'll probably recover. I have a good, strong immune system, but having a young child at home, and my wife is actually pregnant. So like all that kind of going on, I'd be more worried about, getting other people sick rather than myself.
Yeah.
And my last one, what if you were president right now in this situation? How do you think that would feel? What might you try to do to handle the situation if you were kind of put in that position as a leader, trying to manage this whole situation?
Well, I feel like I would be a bit overwhelmed by like everybody freaking out over the virus and stuff, but what I would do to control like everything is just everybody being like locked down, even like essential businesses, like everybody would just be like wouldn't be able to like come out until like everything was like cleaned and like disinfected and everything was just like done. So like there's like a lot of people that still like go into the stores and stuff, and I know they like need stuff, of course, but there's a higher chance of like the virus to get spread everywhere. But if everything was just like if they were at home fighting off the virus by themselves and like with their families and stuff, I feel like it would be like a lot easier to just like get rid of the virus completely. People could just go back to being like normal lives.
I like that idea, making it more of a strict lockdown around the country to kind of, let's deal with this now. It might be intense. It's not going to be easy, but let's deal with it right away rather than kind of giving people the option right now.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris?
I'd say for me, I mean, I think same with Shy, overwhelmed, because I think that no matter what your choice is going to be, there's going to be a ton of conversation, opinions about it. But I mean, if you're the president, I get you sign up for it. But for me, I mean, I would have liked to see our president take earlier action with that, because I think that we could have mitigated a lot of risks that we have. And then I agree with Shy. I think like the wonderful thing about, being an American is that, we do have, a lot of, we're not as restricted as they are in other countries. I've traveled to China and Taiwan and Japan, and, you see like just different things outside the country. But I think that why it will be worse in the United States is because Americans would have an incredibly difficult time being in a situation like Cheyenne said, where it's a 3-week, 100% lockdown, where we are using military and that's dropping off not so much to keep people locked in, but to drop off like food and supplies and make it very, very intentional as to how it's done. And then it would get a lot sooner. You wouldn't have as much of a financial hardship with these families either, with so many people being off work.
Definitely.
Yeah.
that's the hard thing with America. Our freedoms are great. I'm glad I'm American. I'm glad I get to have freedoms that I have. But in scenarios like this, sometimes our freedom can endanger other people, with people not
Mhm.
making the best decisions for public health versus their individual rights. I think, Shai, you made a really good point by saying, I think the first thing you said was you'd be overwhelmed. Like, this is like something that's never happened before. I try to keep that in mind when thinking about, government officials, schools, districts, and when they're making these decisions, they're doing the best they can, and trying not to kind of pass judgment on them, even though it is hard to kind of see, like, could we do it differently? But I think everyone's just trying to do their best to figure out the best way to handle the situation. And again, it's something we've never faced before. So it's kind of like we're trying all these different things and hopefully it's all going to work out. And I truly believe it is. It's just, how long. I think that's one of the harder things is the unknown of not knowing how long this situation is going to last.
Right.
So going off that, those are my three kind of like more in-depth what if scenarios. The next part is actually going to be more of a game. So I have 50 what if situations. So what I'm going to ask you to do is you're going to actually pick a number between 1 and 50, and then I'm going to present that question to you. And then as a group, we're going to kind of discuss it. That sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So Shai, I'm going to let you go first. What number between 1 and 50 would you like to pick?
3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay. What if no one hears a sound? Does it still exist? So if no one hears it, does it still exist?
It might exist. It just no one would ever know. Yeah.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. I think it's kind of like if a tree falls in the woods, but no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Yeah, that kind of scenario.
Yeah. I guess no one would know unless they saw it or when does it happen. If they can't hear it, then like, how would they know if it's real or not?
Kristen?
Yeah, so I say, well, this probably isn't the most scientific thing, but you know how they say like light like travels at like the speed of, isn't it like, there's certain like sounds that travel at like the speed of light or something like that, right?
Like breaking the sound barrier because you're going so fast?
Yes. So I say yes, because I think even too, like there's certain pitches that we can't hear because they're so high or they're so low. So we can't actually hear them, but they're still making a noise or a sound or can have certain frequencies that can move something. So I say yes.
And that's the fun thing about these what ifs. There's no right or wrong answer. I think when we talk about sound, it's one of those things like, does someone have to validate the sound or check off that it's actually happening for it to be real? And I think of it like this, like my neighbor's in his house next door. I know there's sound going on over there, even though I can't hear it. So it still exists. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
Kristen, you're up. A question between 1 and 50.
I'll pick number 7.
7. Okay, what if you could change one thing about the world? What would it be? And you can't choose coronavirus.
One thing about the world, it would be the wealth gaps among people. So, that would ultimately lead to a lot of other changes. So I would say like there's just such great, huge wealth gaps, and there's a very small percentage, less than 2% of people that hold the majority of the world's wealth. So to see that more evenly distributed amongst people.
I like that because I think it's like the top 1% control like 90 some percent of all money in the world or something like that. It's like something ridiculous.
Crazy.
It's one of those things I always think about, like, like Jeff Bezos. I'm like, why does he just give like $1 billion to a poor community? And because he could afford it and like help out. But that's a hard one. Definitely the wealth gap is something that it's hard to say it's unfair, but it's not evenly dispersed.
Yeah. It's not evenly, then it causes all kinds of ripple effects with people, and like if you have $1 billion, like you said, and you give it away to communities, you wouldn't even notice it, and then it would be one heck of a tax write-off. So
Yeah,
what's stopping, people from doing things like that?
Yeah.
I can see that. I mean, what's the difference between $1 billion and like $500 million for someone like living your life? Like it's not gonna hurt them that much. What about you, Shai? What would you change about the world if you could change one thing?
Well, I know this is kind of impossible, but I wish there was like no sicknesses in the world. Like no one could like get sick. No, like when they're born, like they're just healthy. Like there's no like babies dying like right away from like.
Okay. So like everyone would live to like their natural causes, like they get old, senior citizen, there wouldn't be illnesses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
good one.
And hopefully that is what we're working towards. If you think back to, the colonial days, like people would get like a cold and they would die, versus now we do have better medicine and people are living longer and things like that. So hopefully we're moving in that direction. I like that one. If I could change the world, the one thing I would change, honestly, I think it would be more that people were kinder, like just people would be like nicer to each other. Um, it's interesting seeing, in this coronavirus situation, people are, more we can't physically be closer to each other, but people are reaching out and trying to support one another even more, which is really nice to see. But I would hope it wouldn't take a pandemic for that to happen. Just people, just being kinder, like the small little things, taking, a moment to look out for their fellow man. I think that's what I would look for.
Yeah.
All right, let's try another one. So it's my turn. So we just did 7. I'm going to jump way down. I'm going to go with 45. Let me scroll down here. Okay. What if you could neglect one personal hygiene routine without any negative consequences to it? So if you could choose to like not like shave, not brush your teeth, not cut your nails, like what would be the one thing that you would choose not to do, but you wouldn't have any negative consequence to it? I think for me, I would say getting haircuts, because I really wish I could get a haircut right now. Like if I got one haircut and I never had to cut it again, that'd be pretty awesome. So I think that would be the one kind of grooming thing that I would want to have kind of maintained forever for me. What about you guys?
What about you, Shai?
Wait, you go first.
Yeah, I would say shaving. I hate shaving. Like just one of those things that, especially as you get older,
I don't.
it's inconvenient.
I don't know. Well, like, maybe, like, I won't ever have to do my hair again. I'll just be like perfect, like curls all the time.
Yeah,
Wake up in the morning, my hair would
Just be done.
Yeah.
definitely. All right, let's try another round. So Shai, you're up.
I choose 50.
50?
Yeah.
All right. This one's a little bit out there, so stay with me here. Okay, what if a zombie bit a vampire? What would happen?
The vampire would have a lot of diseases, and the vampire would probably bite the zombie back, and then the zombie would die, and then the vampire would die because he got diseases from the zombie. So they'll just die.
So they would bite each other, and then they both would die.
Yeah, but I don't know if zombies could die because they're dead.
I'm pretty sure the zombies are already dead.
They're undead.
Oh yeah, they're undead.
So are vampires, I think.
Yeah, I think they're same.
Well, either way, they're just gonna be very ill.
Okay. What do you think, Kristen?
Well, Shai knows I'm kind of like a vampire show nerd. So, because vampires can't feed on things that aren't living, then like instantly, like not necessarily die, but like be so like decayed that they couldn't move, I guess. And then the zombie would probably just eat the vampire, I think. I don't know.
I'm trying to think. My experience with vampires and zombies, I used to watch The Walking Dead a lot. So I think it's like a situation where, like, I guess it would just be like the zombie would keep on keeping on. Like, I think the vampire can maybe fight off the zombie, even though the zombie bit them. But then the vampire would slowly kind of turn into like a zombie vampire with all like the vampire powers, but would be like slow and like dumb like a zombie, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's funny.
All right, Kristen, you're up.
I'm gonna go 38.
38. Okay. What if you woke up tomorrow morning and you could only hop everywhere you went? So you couldn't walk anymore. And it's kind of funny coming off of Easter. You would have to literally hop everywhere. How do you think your life would be different?
Shy's laughing because I sprained my ankle a couple months ago. Man, I would have some serious, like you'd have like one serious thigh muscle from hopping. You probably would stop going places, I think. I hated just kind of hopping everywhere and just like, I don't know. I think I probably would become very lazy. That's what I'd say. How about you?
You choose to stop to move rather than have to hop everywhere.
Yeah, it was exhausting. Yeah, it was pretty rough.
What about you, Shy?
I'll probably buy a wheelchair.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll work out still by hopping, but like, that's embarrassing.
Right.
I like that. You're like, we have technology, so it's like, why not just get a wheelchair? People get around in wheelchairs all the time, so that makes sense. I think I might embrace it. Like I'm gonna hop everywhere and like become like a long jumper. So like my legs would be super strong because all I'm doing is like squatting down and hopping all the time. So like hopefully it would transfer into like an athletic career possibly. And I would hope eventually like hopping would just be like walking. Like, my muscles would build up to the point that I'd be used to it.
Or it could be like a legend or something. Like,
yeah.
Man, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Let me try one here. So let's go with 25. Okay. What if you woke up in the morning and there was a stranger sitting at your breakfast table? What would you do?
You want to go first, Chad?
You should go first.
Oh yeah, it's your turn. You go first.
If that happened, I'd probably. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm not a big like violent person, but I'd probably like tackle him. Like I'm like, why are you in my house? Like, could I be worried about like my wife and my daughter and like protecting them? Like it's a stranger. Like I will figure everything out, but the first thing I got to do is kind of like subdue them. I guess that would be the first thing I would think.
How about you, Shay?
Well, first I'll be confused. Like, is that her friend or my dad's friend or my brother's friend? Like, is this someone like they know? But if it wasn't, I probably would tell them to get out of my house, and they probably wouldn't even come in the house because we have like big dogs, and unless they know them. But yeah, I'll be confused. Very confused.
I was thinking about Shy. I was like, we got to kick the dogs out because they're not doing their job.
I swear.
I'd probably scream for Shy's dad. Like I would be like super duper confused, and then I'd probably like my godson lives here with us too, so I'd be like calling for him, like, who did you let into this house?
That's like one of my biggest fears. Like I'll be sleeping at night, I'll hear like a noise, and I'll be like, what's going on? I have to go downstairs and check it out. Like just like someone randomly being in my house without me knowing, that would just freak me out.
Yeah, same. Really freaky. So
let's try one more round. I do want to say, like, I appreciate you guys being here. We've been doing these sessions this is our third week of doing them. And Monday has always been kind of like a low point in terms of like people attending. Typically we have to send out reminder emails to some of the kids that we work with, just being like, did you remember you're supposed to come? Things like that. So I don't want you to like think, oh, I'm not going to come back because there's only I was the only one here. We typically get maybe 3 to 5 kids right now. We're still growing, but I definitely encourage you to come back tomorrow during this time period. I will say I'm enjoying the conversation. So even when we have one person, we still hold the session and still talk. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So We're going to do one more round, and then I'll talk to you guys about the reflection form, and then we'll wrap it up for today.
Okay, sounds good. Go ahead, your turn. You pick.
All right, Shai, you're up.
19.
19. Oh, this is an interesting one. What if you knew you only had 24 hours to live?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I would. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't waste a second. I would do like a lot in 24 hours, but that's not a lot of time to do what you want because like you have to like schedule things and
Well, Shai, how about the top three? Top three things you would want to do in that 24 hours.
I want to go skydiving and I want to swim with dolphins and I want to I want to go surfboarding, like surfboard.
Okay. Sounds like you want to go to Florida or someplace, warm to get dolphins and surfing. And then skydiving, you can really do that anywhere. Very cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Kristen?
I think for me, like Shai said, I wouldn't want to waste a second. I would want to be make sure my entire family was there, and even just like catching a direct flight to like Disney and just like spending the whole day there. Getting everything out, like the past the line, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like spending time with them and making sure they're okay.
Yeah, I think I would be in the same boat. It's more about making sure everyone was okay before I left. The first time I was thinking was like, oh, I want to travel. But I was like, well, if I fly somewhere and it takes me like 8 hours to get there, that's a big chunk of my day that's taken away. But I would probably agree with the whole, being around family. I'm from Philadelphia originally, so that'd probably be the first thing I do is take my family here back home, see the people there, and kind of just hang out with all the people I care about and kind of say goodbye, and definitely meet with my like financial advisor and lawyers and like make sure everything's set up for everyone. But yeah, that'd be tough. 24 hours is not a lot of time. I wouldn't sleep. I would stay up the entire time. That would be the big thing.
Yeah.
All right, Kristen, you're up.
I'm going to go with number 11.
11. Okay. What if you had to choose between fame or fortune? So you could be a celebrity, but you'd be broke, or be like a billionaire, but no one would know who you were.
Definitely a billionaire and nobody knowing who I am. I think like fame is kind of like a cool thing, but you could be famous for like the wrong reasons. And I think people like following me around and knowing exactly who I was would bother me. No like sense of privacy. But just being wealthy and just being able to like spend all my time instead of like working for 8 hours a day, just like spending time doing the things I want with the people I love. Definitely.
Awesome. What about you, Shai?
I would choose to be and then like with the money and stuff because there's not much to like being famous like cause, unless like I'm like talented and stuff. I mean I am like as I'd rather like do something like to work out to like being famous because like being famous for no reason and then like being like broke. I'd rather be like making money and being famous, but I don't know.
No, that makes sense. It definitely does. It's interesting when we think about, we were just talking earlier when we were talking about like money and things like that. Most of the most rich, the most wealthy people in the world, we don't even know who they are. Like they're people that, have billions of dollars and we never see them. And I think that would be awesome where I could go to the grocery store and do what I want to do and no one would actually know that I had that kind of money. So I would definitely go with the fortune one. And I also always wanted to be that kind of person that like I could go to, a homeless shelter and donate $100,000 and just walk away and they like no one knows. Like it's just like, oh, they got this money to do something great, but I don't want the recognition for it. I just did it to be nice. All right, last one. I'll take this one. Let's go with my favorite number, which is 21. What if you were chosen to go into space? Would you do it? Honestly, probably not. It sounds really cool, but like going all the way up there, being away from my family for like probably a month or so, and having to do all that kind of stuff, I don't really feel the need to go. I don't think there's much up there for me to do. But it'd be an honor to be asked, but I don't think I would actually go and do it. What about you guys?
What do you think?
I would go because you never know what you would see and find out. And I like space and I love like science and can't even say the word
Astronomy.
astronomy and stuff. But I would definitely go. And one of my favorite movies is called Interstellar, and like he goes into space and stuff, and it's just cool. I want to see what it looks like in person and like in pictures, and if they ever even went, I don't know.
Yeah. For me, so probably not. I don't think I'd go. I've probably seen way too many people getting stuck in space.
People get stuck in space.
I mean, sure. I mean, I'm sure that some astronauts have, but most of them are like movie based. So I think I'm just too afraid of the unknown and away from people that I love. You know, I think I'm just too afraid. I think if I was like a single person with no kids, I would totally probably want to check it out and do it. But I would just miss too many people. I'd miss my family.
Definitely. Shy, I think because you're younger, you're a little bit braver than us. And there's not many people that are relying on you. So like it's a little bit more freeing. But so that'd be cool. Like space is awesome. I like it as well. It's very interesting, but it's more something I like to study than rather be involved in.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, Shy, you mentioned with your 24 hours wanting to go skydiving. I've actually been, and it was fun, but I also went before I had a wife and a kid and stuff like that. And now I have no interest to go. So it's definitely a good thing to take advantage of those things when you can.
Yeah.
Shai, you also mentioned that you're interested in space. So one of our other teams actually requested for us to do a session on space and talking about astronomy and what's out there and things like that. So probably not this week, but next week I can probably schedule for one of our subjects to be about space if that's something that you'd be interested in.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll definitely plan that out for let's say for next Monday. I'll plan that out, and I'll definitely let Casey know as well. She's the one that wanted to do that topic. So I'm going to wrap up today's session. I'm going to put the reflection form, a link to it, in the chat real quick. Give me 1 second to pull that up for you.
Okay.
So I'm putting it in right now. So that's the link for the reflection form. Can you see it there?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay. So in that form, again, it's going to kind of ask you about your experience today. Also ask you about what you want to talk about in the future. Also, what we do is for everyone who completes the reflection form, we put them for each reflection form that you complete, your name gets put into a raffle. And at the end of the week, we raffle off gift cards to different locations. So in a week, if you come to all 5 sessions and you fill out all 5 reflection forms, you get 5 opportunities to win the raffle. So right now, since you're the only one that's come to a session this week, you'd win the raffle ticket. So you'd win the raffle, so you'd get the gift card. Right now, we provide gift cards for Giant Eagle, I think Target, Amazon, a lot of stuff in terms of like maybe getting supplies for the house and things like that. I know there's also some food restaurant gift cards as well. But I highly recommend and would appreciate if you fill out that reflection form. And we'll be doing this again tomorrow. Tomorrow, Miss Janelle will be the one running the group. And then if you're here on Thursday, I'll get to talk to you again.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. Do you have any questions before I let you go?
No. Yeah, I'm good.
No, thank you. It was great. Thanks so much.
No problem. And Kristen, you're always welcome. We have parents jump in occasionally too. So if you want to be a part of the discussion, you're more than welcome.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks again. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.